Good morning. Hey, today Traxx Momentum. As promised, I've got this interview right now. Allow me to introduce my guests. I've got Ms. Mok Yi Ying, the KLEFF Manager. This is Stefano Savi, the Global Outreach and Engagement Director of Roundtable of Sustainable Palm Oil, better known as RSPO. And Mr. Ashaari Rahmat, the General Manager of Poptani Asia, the Moderator Food for Future Forum happening at KLEFF. Thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Thank you, Sophia.
Thank you.
How are you guys feeling?
Excited, actually.
Excited?
Up.
Yeah.
All right, so let's educate our listeners a little bit more. Perhaps you can tell us a little bit about KLEFF. It's the 10th year anniversary. So what is special about this year's International Kuala Lumpur Eco Film Festival? Perhaps you can start first.
Okay, this year KLEFF itself is our 10th year. So it's basically a huge milestone for us. So this year KLEFF, we have a week long of activities throughout the entire week. So it was the KLEFF will start from 23rd October to 29th October at Publica Solaris Tutamas.
Okay.
So on the weekday itself, we have 3 forums happening. On the weekend itself, we have workshops, talks, green market, and throughout the entire festival, we have film screening from time to time.
Wow, it sounds very power-packed.
Yes,
there's so many things going on.
Yep, definitely.
All right. So for the Sustainability Forum series, what are the themes or topics that will be discussed, and how many forum speakers that we can expect, and why should people actually be here at this forum? You got to do the pitch now. Let everybody know to be here. Why?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So we had taken KLEFF, this platform is our first time to have this Sustainability Forum series during KLEFF.
Nice.
So we have actually packed 3 kinds of different approach for the forum team. So on the 24th itself, we have this women leadership in sustainability.
Wow.
So talking more about women's engagement and also leadership in driving the sustainability movement in different industries. So on the second forum itself, it's on the 25th of October. So we have this youth leadership in sustainable SDG goal. So it's in line with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal.
Okay.
So we have speakers from various backgrounds who is in aspiring leaders doing different things, different initiatives in driving the movement itself. So this forum is also supported by RSPO.
Okay.
So RSPO is also doing a lot of youth engagement, and we believe there will be also a great driving movement to our speakers and also to the participants.
Right.
So the last but not least forum, we have the Food for Future. What will we be eating forum? So it's on the 26th October. So all of this is to talk about from farm to table concept.
Okay.
So we have speakers from various backgrounds, mainly tackling about food issues, farming, and also permaculture, vegans, etc., etc. So we have Ashaari here to share a bit more about what should we talk about, what is the inside of the forum itself.
All right. So we'll get to RSPO and the Food for Future in a bit. But first, you've mentioned earlier on the Youth Leadership in Sustainable Development Goals Forum. Maybe you can share with us your insight. Why do you think it's important for youth today to know about these goals? And what are the youth's role or contribution that they can give to achieve this goal? Why do you think that they should take part from this age and not much later? Why do they have to take actions now?
In EcoKnights, we always believe that environmental sustainable starts from grassroots level. So youth itself is definitely a big group that we have to tackle on and to educate and empower them on the environmental sustainability movement. So all this is mostly tackling youth.
Right.
So youth itself has the power to change. They are young, they are creative, and definitely have the self-confidence in doing things that they believe into. So we definitely believe that all these youth, in line with the SDG goals, can definitely create something and create a better world in the future itself.
Wonderful. So you young people, if you're listening right now, you know what to do. You're going to be a part of this. Now, thanks for the explanation.
No worries. Yeah.
Now, I'd like to understand a little bit more regards RSPO. So, Stefano, tell us, what is RSPO? Were there any projects, partnerships, initiatives that's been done before this? And what do you have in plan for the youths of Malaysia?
Sure. Thank you. Well, RSPO is a global multi-stakeholder organization. So it's an organization that unites more than 3,500 members globally that are working on the global palm oil supply chain. And also the NGOs, the social NGOs and the environmental NGOs that are working on these issues, and also the financial institutions that are financing palm oil related businesses. So it's an international organization, but it's an organization that believes that in order to succeed we need to find also local solutions to local issues. So what we're talking about, what Mok was talking about, the SDGs are definitely global problems, but if we don't find a way to empower the local communities, the local youths, to find solutions that are important for them within these international frameworks, it's going to be impossible for us to reach what we want to reach. And what the RSPO wants to reach in the specific is to achieve market transformation. So to make sure that the whole of the supply chain for palm oil is sustainable. And the way we define this is through certification.
So speaking about sustainable palm oil at this point, what is the current status here in Asia or Malaysia per se?
Well, as you may know, most of palm oil globally is produced in Indonesia and in Malaysia. Currently, the certification of through RSPO, about 20% of the global production of palm oil is certified. And that's the case also in Malaysia, where about 5 million hectares of land are under oil palm cultivation. And about 1 million hectares is certified by the Roundtable on Sustainable Palm Oil.
I see. Now, you've mentioned the percentage and how much palm oil is available in Malaysia and Indonesia. So speaking about getting certified, is it hard to get certified here when it comes to the RSPO certification? What does it take? How's the procedure like?
Well, definitely change is never easy, right? So if you want to if you want to do things better, just having the mindset to do things in a different way. When anyways, palm oil is it's quite a good business in a way, and it's brought a lot of farmers out of poverty in Malaysia. It's been very successful as a crop to make sure that you get the maximum yield out of the least amount of land. So yes, it's difficult to change in a situation where farmers are already getting a lot out of the crop itself. But definitely we can do better, and we can do better especially if we show farmers that there's a benefit to get certified. And we've seen these benefits so far. These benefits are benefits that include more market access, for example, to markets that are demanding for sustainable palm oil. And we can always think of the classic markets like Europe or the US. But for example, last year in China, we had an increase of 70% of our certified facilities. So there's 70% more factories that are certified to import sustainable palm oil according to the RSPO certification standard. So this demand for certification is increasing, and there's a benefit for farmers, even locally at the local level, to enter this sustainable palm oil market. Of course, there are more benefits, not just in terms of market access, but also in terms of best management practices, for example, and of treatment of workers, and of course of limiting the negative impact that you can have on the local environment that farmers do care about. So that's an important thing, and I agree with Mok that we need to get the youth at the local level to understand that we need international frameworks that empower these local solutions in order for us to achieve this transformation.
So you've mentioned earlier on why having the certification for RSPO is important, and why it's a growing number, which is a very good thing, and the sustainability within the ecosystem between the farmers and the whole
market
itself, right? But when it comes to consumers from RSPO side, is there any projects or programs that you are heading right now towards reaching towards the consumers and the public?
Definitely. There's we're an international organization, so we have different programs in different countries at the moment that are running. One of the we are definitely very, very pleased to support this KLEFF Youth Leadership in Sustainable Development Goals Forum that is going to be held on Wednesday, the 25th of October. And at RSPO and the Secretariat that is based out of Kuala Lumpur, actually, we have an amazing team. It's very passionate, and I'm very glad that one one of our team, Gaia Velayutam, is going to be one of the speakers at this forum.
Okay.
So one of these engagements, engaging with the youth through these forum platforms, is one of these projects that we have. One that I would also like to mention is we have a trademark app that is available both on the Google Store and on the Apple Store that can geolocate the products that carry the RSPO trademark on pack.
Wow.
So as a consumer, you can go on the app, look at the supermarket that is close to you and find products that carry the trademark. Definitely, as of today, there's not many products that carry this trademark. So we're working with local partners such as Sime Darby, for example, that have launched a product this year on Alif that is carrying the Alif cooking oil that is carrying the trademark now in Malaysia. And we plan to do more. But we need to get consumers and students especially with their access to social media to speak out about this. Ask companies, ask organizations to go for certification, to demand for certified sustainable palm oil, and to communicate on pack to consumers.
All right. Wonderful point that you brought up, Stefano. So let's take a short little break, and when we come back, we're going to speak to Ashaari. So we want to understand the synergy between food production and consumption with the environment and consumers. So diving deeper into the topic, once again, if you just join me, I am speaking to Ms. Mok Yi Ying, the KLEFF Manager, Stefano Savi, the Global Outreach and Engagement Director of RSPO, and of course, later I'll be speaking to Ashaari Rahmat as well. He is the General Manager of Poptani Asia, moderator of Food for Future Forum happening at KLEFF. So yes, do not go anywhere, guys. If you just tune in, this is Traxx Momentum. Hey, good morning. Tuning in to Traxx Momentum with me, Sophia. And if you just join me, I am speaking to these three wonderful guests of mine. Allow me to introduce Mok Yi Ying, the KLEFF Manager, Mr. Stefano Savi, the Global Outreach and Engagement Director of RSPO, and Mr. Ashaari Rahmat, the General Manager of Poptani Asia, also the moderator of Food for Future Forum happening at KLEFF. Now, upon what you've mentioned earlier on, Mr. Stefano, we've talked about sustainability, the business itself, the ecosystem, and perhaps you could actually enlighten us and tell us more about the synergy between food production and consumption with the environment and consumers. Are we producing enough sustainable food products? Are they environmentally friendly? Perhaps, Mr. Ashaari, you'd like to share with us your insight on this. And Mr. Stefano as well. Yeah, because it's a synergy between the two, right? So, yeah.
Would you like to?
I can start from the perspective of sustainable palm oil and where the RSPO is working. Well, as of today, as I was mentioning earlier, about 20% of the global production of palm oil is certified by the RSPO. I believe the certification is one way, a good way to assess sustainability of products. So that's a good way for consumers to make sure that the products they purchase are sustainable as such. It's important to understand that the definition of sustainability continuously changes, a post that continuously move. Technology changes, our knowledge of our impact on the environment continuously change. A technology or a practice that we might have thought to be sustainable 20 years ago might not be sustainable today, and maybe something that we have today will not be sustainable 20 years from now. But it's important to continuously want to improve, and that's one of the principles actually of the RSPO standard as well. In order to do that, though, we need to make sure that there's a link between consumption and production. And if we don't have consumers to demand for sustainability in general, and pretend that everything that they consume is sustainable, is produced in a sustainable way, we will not be able to achieve this production. And with the global population increasing at the rate and pace that is increasing now, with more and more countries being not self-sufficient in terms of production of food. We've heard about China before. Now India might be coming out of being self-sufficient in terms of production. We need to make sure that we increase yields, that we have better practices, and certification is something that can do this. Specifically in palm oil, where 40% of the global production is done by smallholders. So where maybe technology and access to technology, access to information and access to funds is more difficult. It's important that we look at smallholders as a priority in terms of moving that part of the production towards sustainability. And that's why, for example, for the RSPO, smallholders are really fundamental and important, and that's why we have a support fund that grants certification costs for smallholders and capacity building for smallholders that want to take this path towards sustainability. So we have more than $4 million set aside for granting certification costs for smallholders, and that's something that we're really keen to apply at local level and in partnership with buyers who want to purchase from these sustainable smallholders.
Right. So thank you for sharing with us the whole ecosystem and why it's important that we have sustainability, the understanding of the people and the general public to also support this movement as well. Now, I've not heard your voice today yet, Mr. Ashaari.
I'm just about to add on to what Stefano was talking about. I suppose it's also a question of choice, right?
Correct.
Or perception. Do we have a choice or do we not have a choice about of what we choose to consume?
True.
Because what you choose to consume and how what you choose to consume your food is produced will have an impact on yourself and the environment, whether this is healthy and nutritious or whether this is polluting the environment. Or so some of the questions that you would probably want to think about is this locally produced food or is this imported because of carbon footprint? But then again, we were just having an interesting discussion today that actually most of the carbon footprint is from the production of the food itself. So about 80% plus of carbon footprint from food production is from the production itself, not just the transportation. Stefano was just sharing with me that there's a study that shows if you travel more than 6 to 7 kilometers just to go and get your food from a supermarket, that although it is locally produced, you probably be using more energy and carbon emissions than going to a nearby supermarket that's importing food. Right. But then again, I think also you're also talking about what kind of food are you purchasing? Is it plant-based? Is it animal-based? Because this is also this also jumps on the question of what resources is being used. Chemical fertilizers versus organic, and the pollutions that it's causing. Do we have enough sustainable food? I'm not so sure. My gut feeling says probably not yet, but I think, like we were talking, it's a moving goalpost, and I think more and more people, more and more producers, more and more consumers are becoming more aware of this and are demanding for it.
Wow. But how do we achieve the balance that you've mentioned? Obviously, it's about the choices, people being aware of things, of what their, responses to what their actions are. So, apart from having events and such and ongoing practices and everything that we are putting forth right now, what do you think should actually change when it comes to the people's mindset? Maybe you can share with us.
So what's your motivation to get food? And I suppose I think this one is levels of awareness. I think is driven by what's your motivation on an individual level, on a society level, even on are we just looking at things from an economic gain per se, or is food something a little bit more important to us here? I think the conversations that we will be having in the forum that I'll be moderating will talk a little bit more about food being our direct connection to nature, to the environment. Right. So how you view what you eat and how that is produced is going to have an impact directly on the environment. So are we asking these questions about the food we're eating at the moment or not? So I don't know whether this is something that's widely talked about just yet, but I know the conversation is beginning in many circles, and I think this is something that we're continuing to have.
So that's great to know that it's actually spreading and people are making an effort, taking the initiative. But being a Malaysian ourselves, right? So what are the common issues happening in Malaysia when it comes to their understanding of the food related issues to food production and the everything that goes along in the ecosystem? Is there any particular problems here in Malaysia itself from your understanding or your experience? In what way should we improve?
I think one of the first things that if you're talking about Malaysia specifically, one of the first things we probably want to look at is wastage, maybe, because
we eat too much, right?
We waste a lot.
We waste too much.
I think daily we waste about this was in the papers last year, about 15,000 tons of food is being thrown away. 50,000 tons of waste is food waste. And out of that, I think about 3,000 tons is edible waste, right? And up from that 50,000, I think there's a large percentage. I can't remember whether there's 8 or 9,000 tons, which was avoidable waste. So, it's a bit difficult to talk about, here we have people who are in poverty or hunger, but at the same time, we're wasting a lot of food, that can actually be saved.
And this is on a daily basis, not a festive season yet, right?
It's a daily, yes, it does go up during festive season. Yeah. And also like, what are we eating as Malaysians as well, right? Our choices of food. Interestingly, so on waste and also food choices, two of the speakers in the forum that I'll be moderating, one, it would be Grub Cycle.
Grub Cycle.
They're a social enterprise that looks at how do we reduce food waste from because supermarkets and so on and so forth, they usually throw out a lot of still good food. So they look at how do we distribute this in a better way. And also on food choices, we've got Davina Go, who is speaking about veganism or vegetarian diet. Because interestingly, like going on a more plant-based diet does have a huge impact on reducing your carbon footprint or impact on the environment, because the amount of resources used just to produce meat at the moment now is
It's massive, right?
Massive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's a really interesting topic that we're having right here, and you're going to be one of the speakers to moderate it itself during KLEFF, right, Mr. Ashaari? But before we wrap up, perhaps coming back to KLEFF, maybe you can share with us again who are the speakers, the lineup, and the feature films that we can expect from attending this. Share with us.
Definitely. So, as Ashaari mentioned just now, so in the Food for Future Forum itself, we have a lineup of total 6 speakers from various backgrounds talking about various issues, but mostly about how can we move to a better future in getting sustainable food. So, from Grub Cycle, we have Retza.
Okay.
So he's the founder of Grub Cycle. We'll be talking about how to complete the loop of the food wastage itself. So more food to eat instead going up to the rubbish bin itself. Also we have Urban Hijau, who is also talking about greening life space in urban city itself. So teaching you how to get your green thumbs in the city even though you're not very good in gardening, etc.
Okay.
Also we have our highlight speaker as well from Pan Pan Center, Thailand. So is John Jandai. So John is also a shipbuilder who is also teaching about farming techniques and also getting communities to do farming at a local level itself.
Oh wow.
So John also have a TED Talk who have reached out, I think, 1 billion view. So if you have time, please do have a watch of the TED Talk by John.
Right.
So
I would love to.
Yeah. So John is a really inspiring people. So hopefully, if you are really into food and also farming, permaculture, please do join this food forum. It will be definitely a great platform for people who want to learn more about the food that we're eating, the food that we're buying. So your choice defines the future itself, basically.
Wonderful.
Like literally, yeah. So for youth, SDG itself, definitely zero hunger, sustainable community, sustainable cities, etc. Everything falls under the UN SDG goals. So in the youth forum itself, we have a lineup of also 6 speakers. Okay. 6 wonderful speakers. So we have Ruben Cortez, who is from the Build for Tomorrow. So he's he built the first earth shipbuilding in Malaysia itself.
Okay.
So many people doesn't know about earth shipbuilding. So it's unlike normal architecture. So if you want to know more about what's Ruben doing, please come to this youth forum. Okay. So we will have a session whereby you can get up and close and personal with Ruben. Okay. To get to know what he is doing with Build for Tomorrow. Wonderful. Yeah. So also to mention also BGBG will be among the panel speaker also. Okay. So we have Rashvin, crazy, intelligent young guy.
He's been here.
Yeah, he's been here Traxx a few times. So BGBG is an upcycling social enterprise also who upcycles stuff into and repurpose them into better higher purpose, higher value itself. Right. Also we have Project We. So we have Ron Win, the founder of Project We. So We is basically empowering youth, local youth from all around Malaysia, whereby they will bring them to Sabah, Barrio, to empower the community at the Kelabit community to actually get them to adapt to the current modernization, because Barrio is very far in Highland in Sabah itself, so it's basically pretty hard to access. So it's basically empowering the people there to open up to the new modernization world, and also getting more people to understand their culture, to find a balance between culture and also development itself. So all these youth leaders is currently doing something at different area itself. So we have this platform in KLEFF. So we want all these aspiring youth, regardless of what background you're from, regardless whether you're from environmental background, non-environmental background, it's a platform for you to learn, to expose yourself along the SDG line, to get some inside knowledge, tips and tricks about how to actually get your initiative of movement, get it start rolling. So so this platform will be a good platform for you to actually learn more from these 6 aspiring youth.
Wonderful. Yeah. I mean, I see why you are the manager of KLEFF. You're so well versed. Now, for the public, for everyone who's listening right now, who wants to be a part of the forum, who wants to sign up for it and to gather more information, where can they get all of these infos?
All of this info is available on our KLEFF website. So it's www.kleff.my.
Okay.
So 3 forums. All the information is on there, including the film screening details also. So just to share with everybody, so we have 10 official selection throughout Kuala Lumpur EcoFilm Festival. So all this film is, why do we call it official selection? Because it's a must watch for all the publics. So we really encourage you to watch it. So it's not the normal films that you go to the cinema and catch it. So most of these films that's going to be screened on KLEFF itself is first time to be screened in Malaysia. So it's kind of like exclusive, like Malaysia premium kind.
All right. So all of those are happening KLEFF. So if you want to get more information, once again, it's www.kleff.my. And before I let 3 of you go, I would like to hear from perhaps Mr. Ashaari. What would you like to say, or any messages?
Yeah, so about KLEFF, right?
Please.
Because just a bit of like, this is going to be the 10th year. Everybody knows it's the 10th year. And then I think the films that KLEFF shows, and the quality of the films, the selection, they really speak to what is happening right now in a way that people who are people on the ground would really get it. I remember the kind of people walking into KLEFF movies and walking out thinking, hey, I should start doing something, and the next year you see more of them coming in and contributing to not just the festival, I think carrying out the inspirations that they've got from here in their daily lives. And I really like to see, and I really am quite kind of inspired to see how KLEFF grew from a small film festival to something that is to what it is today right now, right? So it was where you used to have KLEFF in UM, right?
Yes, the first KLEFF is in UM.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was university campus, done on the university campus, and it suddenly grew out from there into something that's quite international, quite engaging for the public to come in. And I'm quite excited to see that this is going to be I think like a convergence of many different minds looking at this issue of the environment, because it's like a complex issue. It's got many different root causes, and what's great is you have all these people trying to tackle it from different angles.
Right.
And this is where probably you come together, you meet them, and you see what you can do.
Are you excited to be the moderator for the Food for Future Forum itself?
Definitely,
right? Yeah. Right. So of course, I would like to hear from Stefano. What would you like to say? Are you excited? What's your thoughts? What would you like to share with the listeners of Traxx FM?
Extremely excited about this KLEFF Festival. And well, for RSPO, it's not going to be a one-off engagement. We are planning to do this in the next years as well.
Yeah. Wow.
And hopefully we will have a category dedicated to the issues surrounding sustainability and palm oil in the next year. But I cannot stress enough how important it is to have these local platforms engaging local youth to become more aware about these global issues that we need to make sure that we are aware of and that we start looking at and resolving. And the SDGs are a perfect platform to start looking into this, and KLEFF at a local level is a perfect solution.
Wonderful. Now, from all of us here at Traxx FM, you know what? I hope you're going to have a wonderful event. Thank you so much for joining me today and to share your thoughts, what you're going to be involved in when it comes to educating the public. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, I was speaking to Ms. Mok Yi Ying, KLEFF Manager, Mr. Stefano Savi, the Global Outreach Engagement Director of Roundtable on Sustainable Palm Oil Ban, known as RSPO, and Mr. Ashaari Rahmat, the General Manager of Poptani Asia, also the moderator for Food for Future Forum, all happening at KLEFF. So once again, the website to go to is www.kleff.my. Go there right now, register yourself for the forums, be mind blown because it's going to be amazing. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me today.
Thank you so much.
All right, so we'll be wrapping up the second hour of the show to welcome the third. Once again, you are tuning into Traxx Momentum.